baby turtle extravaganza continues here at Garden State Tortoise, and today we're going to show you guys how to properly raise baby box turtles. Now this is going to be your more advanced way to raise baby box turtles. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but if you want to use something that's really aesthetically pleasing and that you could do a little bit more for your animals in, that this is the way you want to do it. Toad Ranch just sent us a 7th enclosure. That's right, this is number 7 as far as reptile builds that we've done with them, and I couldn't be more excited to get this one going because it's really tailored to the species of box turtle we're putting in it. So let's open this beast up and get it in the nature room. So this enclosure is going to measure 7 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet, and it's made to fit perfectly on top of the pancake tortoise enclosure that Toad Ranch has already made for us. Their enclosures are extremely beautiful and also very durable. And this plastic, not just another PVC enclosure, this is the same stuff that's used for outdoor cabinetry and marine architecture. So all you do is pretty much assemble the box, install the lighting, and then get it into place, and that's where the fun part comes in. Okay, on to lighting, because we got to install that to the top of this enclosure before we go any further with the rest of it. Now, when it comes to baby box turtles, we've actually said in previous videos that UVB lighting is not absolutely crucial to the success in raising them and seeing them grow properly. However, it's always okay to install it as a precaution. These lighting kits right here that were made by Arcadia have been donated to us through Toad Ranch, so we're going to use them because you're not hurting anything by using it. And in fact, there's so many more studies that need to be done. Why not just err on the side of caution anyway? So I'm going to install 2 of these. It's going to really light up the enclosure beautifully and also help the live plants in there. That's a must. And then I'm going to install the bracket for a heat lamp, but we're not going to actually turn the heat lamp on until it's winter, because right now this building kind of goes with the seasons. It heats up in the summer, it cools off in the winter. So right now it is plenty hot in here, especially with this being a closed chamber. It's going to get very warm and humid in there, perfect for baby box turtles, but we don't want to overheat them. So we'll save the heat lamp for winter. All right, this enclosure is in place. It's ready to go, it's ready to be decorated, and we're turning this into a bioactive enclosure to raise these baby box turtles in. And these are going to be our Mexican box turtles, which we have shown you many videos of. So far, we've got 12 hatchlings from this incredible group of turtles that came to us just this past November, not even a full year ago, from the Turtle Survival Alliance after the adults were illegally poached in the wild, held up by wildlife authorities as they came through the United States, and then they were held at the Memphis Zoo for processing, sent to the TSA, and then they came to us. And in just a short amount of time, we have ended up with 12 beautiful, gorgeous, healthy hatchlings. This is where they're going to get their lives started. So since this is bioactive, that's pretty straightforward no matter what species you're putting in it. The first thing we got to do now that the lighting is hooked up is put in our drainage layer. Those are going to be either hydro balls or some kind of gravelly substrate that goes on the bottom to create a drainage layer. Then on top of that goes the protection measure, which is that screen mesh or fabric that protects the soil that's going to rest on top of the gravel from seeping down into that and creating a complete mess. Not something you absolutely have to do, but it's pretty standard for making these bioactive enclosures. Once the drainage layer is in, once the mesh is on top of that, then goes in the soil. And we're going to be using Zoo Med's Reptisoil for this in combination with some more sphagnum moss and some leaf litter. And on top of that, we're going to put a nice layer of dried magnolia leaves. That helps with the bioactive situation, and it also adds cover for the turtles, which is very important since as babies, they spend much of their time hidden on the forest floor, but it also creates a nice refuge for our cleanup crew. Again, bioactive, you need a cleanup crew, and we're going to be using isopods and springtails, of course. And those little invertebrates help to keep the environment clean, eating up all waste, which enables you to not have to worry about cleaning it. So I'm adding some artificial water bowls next because water is crucial for baby box turtles and really box turtles of any age to stay healthy and sufficiently hydrated. And if you looked at old videos that we've done, we actually show you how to raise them in water for the first year, which works beautifully. But as I said earlier, this is going to be more of an advanced type setup that replicates more of what they would experience in nature. Live plants. This is one of my favorite parts, and in this case, we chose a lot of South American species to help create the environment in there. And the backdrop is Tamaulipas, Mexico, which is where this species naturally occurs in the wild. What we first did was Casey went out into the wood and she got some really cool branches. So we anchored those into the sides and the top to help create depth, and later we'll hang some Spanish moss from it. But for right now, we're gonna go ahead and get all these in there and get really creative. When decorating any reptile or amphibian enclosure, you gotta take into consideration what things might look like from the animal's point of view. You wanna become the animal, and you wanna see things as they would see them, and you wanna always take into consideration what they're looking for. Plants come in handy because they're not only aesthetically pleasing, but they offer the animals places to hide, and so do things like rotting logs. But when you're planting those plants, don't worry about symmetry, because nothing is symmetrical in nature. And that's why you see me clustering plants. You'll see me do a bunch here, a bunch there, tall ones in the back, medium ones all the way up front, or even small ones in the front or back. It doesn't really matter. Get creative, but always consider going as natural as possible, because that is what's so beneficial to the animals inhabiting this enclosure. All right, our enclosure is basically complete. The only thing left to do is add the turtles and then the tempered glass doors, but we're not gonna put that on yet because we wanna make sure you guys can get a nice clear image of what's going on inside this thing. What I have in front of me is an array of baby box turtles that have all hatched here at Garden State Tortoise, but this particular enclosure is of course again for our Mexican box turtles. Now, this is a joint effort with the Turtle Survival Alliance. As I said earlier, the adults came from them. So half of them will grow up here at GST and the other half are gonna be going back to them. And it's good to spread out the genetics that way. It helps richen the gene pool for the captive management of this amazing rare box turtle. But the reason I have this array of box turtles in front of me is because this style enclosure will work for just about anything out there concerning the terrapene genus. And when I say terrapene, we're talking about the North American box turtles that go all the way down into Mexico, and it can even work for Asian box turtles of the genus Cora. So what I have in front of me here, I have baby Eastern box turtles, baby Mexican box turtles, baby Florida box turtles, baby Coahuilan box turtles, which are another Mexican species, but they are highly aquatic. Still, an environment like this could work for them. But I also have one last hatchling Mexican box turtle right here. This little gem just came out of its egg, and this is going to complete the hatch for the 2023 season with these unbelievable turtles. And let's see what 2024 has to bring. We'll let this one sit in the incubator for a little bit longer, take its time coming out. It's not fully straightened out yet, but all of these guys are ready to go. Now, box turtles, when they're growing up, they need pretty simple parameters, but again, this is a little more advanced keeping for them. Still, those basic needs are dimmer lighting. They don't want to be exposed to really overly bright conditions because they spend 90% of their time hiding. They need it very humid, very moist. They need leaf litter, a deep substrate to go into, constant access to shallow water, and a bazillion places to hide. Well, this brand new 7-foot enclosure has that to offer to this brood of baby Mexican box turtles. So remember, when you're trying to set these guys up, one of the main components you always need to take into consideration is that these animals are immidids. That means they are more closely related to pond turtles because they are in the imidid family. They are by no means a tortoise. These animals need to be subjected to moisture and water throughout their lives, and they should never go without it. So this enclosure is going to offer them exactly what they need to grow smoothly, but at a slower, more natural rate. We don't want to blow these things up too quickly because that's not healthy for them. So you might be asking, how on earth am I going to find these little things inside that enclosure? That's kind of the point, folks. You want to know that your animals are able to hide from you because this way they can behave in a more natural manner. The good thing about Mexican box turtles, if you notice right here in front of me, they are sometimes 2 to 3 times larger than their other terrapene cousins. And you can see this right here. Just look at these baby Florida box turtles that are a week ahead of these Mexican box turtles in age, and even the Eastern box turtles that are just a couple days older than these Mexicans. The Mexicans hatch out robustly and big and ready to go, so I'm really not worried about them. If I need to find them to do health assessments, hey, that's part of my job. That's what I got to do. So enough about this. Let's get these into the enclosure and let's see how they like it. So there you have it. That's yet another completed Toad Ranch enclosure here in the Garden State Tortoise reptile building. And this is our 7th build. These enclosures are, in our opinion, absolute top-notch, the absolute best you can get your hands on. They are durable, they are lightweight, they have all the parameters and so many different accessories that you can get with them off Toad Ranch's website. And you can get so creative that you can create a little slice of nature from any part of the world. I mean, just look at this right here. In one corner of this building, we've got Mexico, Africa, China, Australia, the northeastern United States, Madagascar, and Libya. It's so incredible, and it just feels so amazing to be able to offer our animals the absolute best when it comes to captive management. So, if you guys like what you see, make sure you click the affiliate link in the description of this video so you can shop anything at Toad Ranch and get a discount. And as always, thank you, Jared. Thank you, Denny Lynn. What you guys do is completely incomparable, and we can't thank you enough. This ride has been unbelievable.